Well, if this widow was blessed by an unjust judge, how much will the children of God be blessed by God himself? A mom interceding, a dad interceding. Who are you interceding for? One of the most Christ-like things. He ever liveth to make intercession for us. And if she couldn't bring Christ to her daughter, if she couldn't bring her daughter to Christ, she was at least gonna get to him by herself and bring the prayers and the petitions that she had for her and laid them at the feet of him.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Rosedale Baptist Church Online. Our verse-by-verse teaching ministry exists to help every believer grow at every stage of their spiritual journey. Today, we are walking with Jesus through the book of Mark, and we are believing that this message meets you right where you are. Whether you are just beginning to explore who Jesus is, or you have been following him for years, there is something here for you. Now, let's dive into this week's message.
We're in the book of Mark, chapter number 7. And of course, Steve Smith, Pastor Steve, stepped us into Mark chapter 7 what a great message last week. And I actually listened to it twice. Great message. The next passage after that connects perfectly, directly to what he spoke about last week. But Mother's Day is causing me to go to the one after that. But then we're going to circle back and connect that to Steve's message that he preached. And so we're going to be in the book of Mark, chapter number 7, starting at verse number 24. And it's a Mom's Day message, and I'm Mom's Day message. And for all the non-moms that are in the room today, that'd be me, that'd be many of you, we can learn a lot from the ladies. We can learn a lot from the moms. In fact, Paul described his tone of ministry by that. As a nurse, a mom cherisheth her children. We were affectionately desirous of you. We were gentle among you. And so he described how he pastored, ministered as a mom. Even Jesus Christ describing his heart for, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how oft would I have gathered thee together as a hen, not as a rooster, okay, but as a hen gathereth her brood." And so with that in mind, I want to look mainly at the attributes, qualities of a godly mother that each and every one of us need ourselves. And so Mark chapter 7, in verse number 24, Christ is coming off a very busy healing campaign. And then last week, that intense confrontation with the Pharisees. He enters a house, he's looking to get away, he's looking to have some time alone, verse 24. And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid, because there was a godly mother who had a heart for her a daughter that was demon possessed, and she went to him. She sought him as she was looking for him, 25, for a certain woman. He could not be hid because a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, came and fell at his feet, 26. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. And so he's at that house, he's trying to get alone, he's trying to get some R&R, but he could not be hid because the passion of a godly mother heard where he was at, or at least heard that location and sought him. She went after him until she found him. But then when she approaches him, he kind of keeps her at arm's length. Look at verse number 27. She besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. 27, but Jesus said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs. But he kept her at arm's length, but she would not be put off. He kept her at arm's length, but she would not be deterred. Verse number 27, let the children first be filled. It is not meet, take the children's bread, cast it unto the dogs. And she answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. And when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed. Put down number 1, if you will, first quality that we all need, that we see in this godly mother, is the feelings of a godly mom. The feelings of a godly mom. 25, she came and fell at his feet. She came and fell at his feet. A godly mom's feelings, her heart has an invisible tie, intricately tied to the state of her child's well-being. You may not see it always, but I promise you, the heart of a mom and the well-being of her child, boy, there's a thread that connects them both. When her child is hungry, her heart feels the hunger pains. When her child is crying, her heart sheds a tear. When her child is rejoicing, the mom's heart is filled with laughter. She came and fell down. She came and fell down. A mom's emotions are affected by that child's condition. A mom's schedule was impacted by that child's condition. A mom's activities were put on hold until she was able to address that child's, that's the feelings of a godly mom. And for dads, I think about Jacob, Israel, and Benjamin, his son. And when his other sons went to Egypt and were trying to make inroads in Egypt, they came back. The dad was already lost one son, Joseph, and he said, "Be careful, because if anything happens to him, he shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave." They realized this. They realized this. They were careful about this. Sorry, moms. Sorry about that. But they said, if anything happens to the lad, his life, the dad, his life is bound up with the lad's life. And if anything happens, we come back empty-handed. No, Benjamin, he'll die. Thy servant shall bring down his gray hairs to the grave. I think about that mom traveling through the hills of South Wales, carrying her infant child. She was overtaken by this brutal blizzard that started blasting and beating down upon her. And she tried to make it through. She tried to make headway, but she succumbed to that bitter cold. She never made it all the way. When that search party went out to find that mom and her infant child, the snow had kind of heaped up upon her. And when they removed that snow, she saw that mom lifeless. But they also saw that before she succumbed, she wrapped the child in her clothing and wrapped her baby, and then mounted her body over that child, so that last warmth of her body would give life to that child. When they removed the body, they found the child alive and well and unharmed, and that baby boy was David Lloyd George. David Lloyd George eventually would become the Prime Minister of Great Britain, without a doubt, one of England's greatest statesmen. Does anybody see that tie? The heart of a mom, the condition of a child, the heart of a dad, condition of a child, the heart of a pastor, condition of the people, the heart of a person, whoever they're influencing. Boy, that hurt is felt in that heart. The feelings. But now number two, if you will. It's not just enough to have right feelings if you don't know where the answer is. And so the feelings of a godly mom. Number two, the faith of a godly mom. The faith of a godly mom. The woman, 26, was a Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by nation, and she besought, say the next word, him. And that next word, he. She besought him that he would cast forth the devil. She prayed him, entreated him, besought him, asked him. Hey, she knew what the problem was, her daughter, what she was going through, but she knew where the answer is, the Lord Jesus Christ. And so the faith. She besought him, she besought Christ. It wasn't enough just to have faith. She had faith in him. You see, it's not about us having faith in ourselves, or faith in society, or faith in religion, or faith in other people. We don't have faith in faith We have faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. The navigators from years gone by were incredibly helpful, the ministry of Billy Graham and their discipleship courses. I think the thing that I like best about the navigators back in the day was their Bible memory program that they had. Lauren Sanney, who headed it up, that great impactful ministry was asked about his childhood, and he grew up on a Midwestern prairie, and he said, my mother gave birth to me in the frontier house of that little log cabin. On the kitchen counter, she placed a list of ingredients necessary for my formula and for my subsequent siblings' formula when they used to stick build formula and put it together. He said the first ingredient at the top of the list was prayer. 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 Hey, Mom, your faith can have a tremendous impact on your kids. Think about Dr. G. Campbell Morgan, who had 4 boys. All of them were preachers. And a biographer was visiting the house, trying to get to know that family a little bit more. They were in the study with all 4 of his boys, and G. Campbell Morgan, and the mom also there with them. And the biographer decided to kind of put the youngest son on the spot. And he said, Howard, who's the greatest preacher in your family? Howard, who had a great respect for his brothers, great admiration for his father, without even missing a beat, said, Mom is the greatest preacher in our family. Hey, moms, you impact your kids. I think about Paul talking about Timothy, the unfeigned faith that is in thee, Timothy, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I'm convinced that it's in thee also. But that connection, that investment, that impact, that connection, that investment, that impact. I think of the words of that prose. I took a piece of plastic clay and idly fashioned it one day, and as my fingers pressed it still, it moved and yielded at my will. I came again when days were past, and as my fingers pressed it still, the form I gave it still it bore, and I could change that form no more. My mom took a piece of living clay and gently formed it day by day, and molded with her power and art a young child's soft and yielding heart. Boy, I came again when days were gone. It was a man I looked upon. He still that early impress bore, and I could change it never more. Oh, that every family had a faith-filled mom and a faith-filled dad. Oh, that every church had a faith-filled pastor and a godly pastoral staff. Because when a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. And when he lives with hostility, he learns to fight. With ridicule, he learns to be shy. With shame, he learns to feel guilty. But when he lives with tolerance, he learns patience. Encouragement learns confidence. When there's praise, appreciation, fairness, he learns justice. When he lives with security, he learns calmness. When he lives with a mother or a father of faith, he learns to be a man of God. Thank the Lord, this demon-possessed daughter had a mom. Thank the Lord that this demon-possessed daughter had a mom who knew where the answer was, the Lord Jesus Christ. Put down number 2, if you will. Number 1, we saw the feelings of a godly mother. That's verse 25. And then number 2, the faith of a godly mother. That's verse 26. Number 3, the focus. She knew what the problem was, and she knew who the answer is. She knew what the problem was, and she knew who the answer, and she was going to find him no matter how hard she had to look. If she had to travel miles, if she had to disrupt her plans and her agenda, hey, her focus, 24, and from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyreside and entered the house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. Why? For there was a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit. She heard of him and came and fell at his feet. Boy, it's a illustration of that that widow in that parable where she went to that unjust judge saying, avenge me of mine adversary, avenge me of mine adversary. And immediately he did nothing. He didn't get involved for a time. But because of her continual coming, he relented and he finally did. Now the application is this: shall not God avenge his people? Shall not God bless his people? I tell you, speedily, quickly. Well, if this widow was blessed by an unjust judge, how much will the children of God be blessed by God himself? A mom interceding, a dad interceding. Who are you interceding for? One of the most Christ-like things. He ever liveth to make intercession for us. And if she couldn't bring Christ to her daughter, if she couldn't bring her daughter to Christ, she was at least gonna get to him by herself and bring the prayers and the petitions that she had for her and laid them at the feet of him. Now here's a sermon. Put down number 4. In verse 25, the feelings of a godly mother. In verse 26, the faith of a godly mom. And then that bigger view, the focus of a godly mom. But then look at verse 27, the fortitude. The fortitude. And so the feelings, her heart tied to her daughter's condition. That child's hurt in her heart. The feelings of faith, she had faith in the one who created everything. A faith not in a faltering and flimsy, not in a feeble type of a person or a religion. She had faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. And her focus was, it doesn't matter how busy I am, I'm gonna get to the feet of Jesus. It didn't matter how cluttered my schedule is. I'm gonna make sure that I carve out that time where what's the title of the series? Walking with Jesus. Where I spend time walking with Jesus. But now, number 4, the fortitude. The fortitude of a godly mom. As she approaches, Christ kind of puts her off, kind of holds her at arm's length, verse 27. But Jesus said unto her, after she asked, pleaded, help her, heal her, bless her. But Jesus said unto her, look at it, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it unto the dogs. Harsh, hard. There could have been an offense there. She could have tripped up right there. But we do know this. We know the heart of Christ. He knew what he was going to do, that he was going to heal her. He's omniscient. He knew what he was going to do. He knew how she would respond. And so the Lord is basically giving us a lens to look through at the fortitude of a godly mom, as he's quoting the common culture of that day, whether it's man view of woman, or whether it's Israel's view of the Gentiles. They are the chosen people, but at times they felt like they were the only people. And so that common tone, that common feeling of that day, it shows us nothing about Christ, his unconditional love for us. It shows us everything about she would not be deterred. She would not be turned back. By the way, just for a minute, think about that. Most people, or at least many people at this point, would have walked away and used this as a point of reference the rest of their life. I tried Christianity once. You should have seen how I was treated when I tried Christianity once. That point of reference, that lens they looked through. I was hurt by what someone said. I was hurt by what someone did. I felt rejected and looked down upon. And it was a common culture of that society of that day, be it man's view of woman, or whether it's the Jews' view of the Gentile. By the way, most people, if she would have walked away right here and for the rest of her life carried that baggage, carried that scar, carried those emotions. Most people would say, boy, you're justified in doing that. He said it because I wasn't a Jew. He said it because I was a Syro-Phoenician. I was Greek by nationality. It sure feels racist. But he said it because he was a man. He said it because I was a woman. Boy, it feels chauvinistic. It feels misogynistic. Called me a dog. Boy, called me a dog. Boy, she would have had every right in her own mind. She wouldn't have had to go too far to justify it to herself or even justify it to other people if she huffed away, never to return to Christ again. Boy, I was there. I was close. And now, because of what was said, boy, I'm carrying that scar, that baggage, the issues. And anytime someone brings anything up about that, triggered by that, all the emotions come surging back. Hey, put yourself in her place for a minute. Should not the children at the table eat first? And it's not meet to take the children's bread and to give it to dogs. Victim status, that hypersensitivity from now on, that distrust. And did you hear what he said to me? Did you hear what he said to me? My question would be this: did you stick around to see the heart of Christ? And my question is this: did you read the end of the passage to see her fortitude, her tenacity, in spite of that possible offense? In verse 27, look at it. But Jesus said unto her, let the children be first filled, for it's not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. 28. And she answered, now don't miss this though. It's not telling us about Christ. He's quoting common culture of that day, trying to highlight, taking out his big yellow highlighter. Hey, don't miss this lady. Don't miss this, her passion. Hey, don't miss this. She had such a heart for Christ. And she answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. Her fortitude. What a nonstop driving faith that would not be overcome by a possible offense, a perceived offense, an unintended offense, a resentment, a bitterness, an emotional tripping up. The fortitude of a godly mother. I like what Jeremiah says. God said, ye shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Ye shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Now the problem is, if she would have walked away, never to darken the door of a congregation again, if she would have walked away justifiably in her own mind, even to others maybe, and not ever listening, always turning a deaf ear, her daughter would still be demon-possessed. Is anybody out there at all? Her daughter would still be in need of the master's touch. How many people have we met that because of their emotional baggage they're carrying, they're forcing their children to carry it too? Because they don't step back. They don't end up seeing it all. They run off before the healing begins. And that daughter lives the rest of her life demon-possessed. It's killing her kids. I think about that verse that says, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Boy, that hurt that I hold on to turns to a hate, and that hurts the one that holds it. The hurt that we hold on to can turn to a hate, and that hate is what hurts the one that holds it, but it doesn't stop there. Boy, it splashes over into the ones that we could influence, that we could be a blessing to, the ones we're trying to influence, the ones that call us mom, the ones that call us dad, the ones that call us pop, and neen. Well, it's Hebrews 12, lest any root of bitterness trouble you, but also troubles anybody else around you. I'm talking about years later, still not wanting to be involved in the church, still not living generously, still not giving, not trying to evaluate someone, not someone by who they are, but evaluating them by something or someone that happened in the past. Boy, that scar, that issue, that emotional baggage that we hold on to. I'm not willing to trust any place, any church, any pastor. I'm not going to get involved in any ministry. They're still responding to that hurt from yesterday, and it's absolutely killing their kids tomorrow. The woman in the text, though, was different. Well, she had such a love for her child. She had such an ability to I can get past that. Boy, I have something bigger than that. I have a heart for Christ. I have a love for my child. I'm not going to let my pride allow the devil to get my daughter. I'm not going to let my pain allow my child to walk away from God's house. My offense keep my child from God. Where our kids won't go to church, our kids won't come to the Lord, our kids, our ones we influence won't even consider Christ, but not for this lady. This lady, yes, her faith, and yes, her focus, but yes, her feelings, she still had an incredible fortitude that said, I get it, we all go through things, but I really get it that Jesus is still the way, the truth, and the life. He's still the answer for all the problems we have. Someone along the way bumps, someone along the way says, someone along the way, boy, it was offensive. It does not mean I have to be offended to the point of quitting. Boy, I still need to be seeking the Lord Jesus Christ. Look at the last point, number 5. Kind of the conclusion, the finality of a godly mom. We saw in verse 25 the feelings of a godly mom. In 26, the faith of a godly mom. In 24 through 27, the focus of a godly mom. And then 27 and 28, the fortitude of a godly mom. And then number 5, the favor of a godly mom's response. Boy, the favor that God showed them, the finality of how her faith and focus and fortitude and feelings, what it did in her daughter's heart. 29. And he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. The devil is gone out of thy daughter. And when she came to her house, she found the devil gone out. The devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed, wonderfully healed, wonderfully whole, wonderfully blessed. Her child was affected favorably by a godly mom's feelings and faith and focus and fortitude, a mom that would not be deterred. By the way, I want that for my kids. Stephen and Hannah, I get that they're both in their 30s, and I'd give you the exact number, but I'd have to ask Shar first. But anyway, I want that for my kids. I want that for my grandkids. Boy, I don't want something that I'm tripping on to affect them, something I can't get my heart around or my heart over. That's what I want for Rosedale Baptist Church, is a pastor that is sincerely seeking the Lord Jesus Christ. And by the way, I want that to be you and the people that you're impacting. Can I stop and just give you a couple actionable items? Usually we are walking with Jesus, and then the application is, okay, how do I walk like Jesus? What are some of the actionable items? And I just want to give you a few that I would take from this. And for me, and if you want to jump in and write some down, or if the Lord is speaking to your heart in a different way than that. Number 1, let go of your past hurts and your past pains and times that you were offended. Boy, let them go. I know it's easier said than done. And to be honest with you, it's not just letting it go. I'm going to have to let it go again. And then I didn't uproot all of it. It still has a little bit of, I need to let it go again. I pray that you're able to do that. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but if I don't deal with that, if I'm unable to uproot that, I think secondly, not just letting go of those past hurts and pains, but let's bask in the unconditional love of Christ. Those wounds, those places where, boy, it hurts. The only thing that really heals is the unconditional love of Christ. Well, you should have seen what that person did to me. You should see what the Lord Jesus Christ did for all of us. You weren't there when that person said about me. He said about me. But I love what Jesus says about us. But behold, what manner of love is this, that we should be called the sons of God. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because God gave his son for us. You ever, and we all have, that time where, it just echoes a little longer than it should have. It continues to echo a little longer than we would like for it to. Boy, looking to Calvary helps my heart a lot. The fact that he died for me, he suffered for me, he took that bludgeoning and that scourging, he took those nails for me, that spear in his side. Hey, he did that for me. Boy, he loves this offensive person that was offensive to him, dying for me. And as I bask in the love of Jesus Christ, boy, spending time in worship and drinking in the blessings of God, boy, some of those scars start to heal. Some of those hurts start to hurt not quite as much. And so let go of my past hurts, basking in the unconditional love of God. And then for me, let go, let's bask, let's seek Christ in spite of what we're going through. Seek Christ in spite of what we're going through. And then lastly, let's so love other kids, our kids, family, our friends. Let's so love the ones that we're trying to be a blessing to, that we live a little more like the lady in this story. It's a Mother's Day message, but I think all of us realize, boy, it applies here. It applies to every single one of us. Her feelings, she came and fell. Her faith, she besought him. She asked him. Her focus, it was all about him. She had a limited ability in her own power. She needed to get her daughter into the power and presence and blessing, under the blessing of the Lord Jesus Christ. And that fortitude. You want to see what kind of fortitude she has? Let me just quote the common culture of that day. Boy, it's the children are to eat the bread. It's not meat to give the dogs under the table. The bread that was meant for the children, as he quote, unquote, kind of like Paul on Mars Hill quoting the philosophers, the Stoics of that time. Jesus many times would, here's what you guys believe, and here's what you say, and he sets the backdrop of watch this lady's faith, this lady's focus, this lady's fortitude, and then watch how I respond in light of that.
Thanks so much for watching today's message. We just want to take a second and say that if God is stirring something in your heart right now, you are not alone in that. And we do not want you to navigate it by yourself. Whatever you are feeling, whatever questions are rising up, we want to come alongside you and give you the resources you need to grow in your relationship with Him. Your next step matters to us. If you have questions about a relationship with Jesus, baptism, or how to get connected here at Rosedale, the links are in the description, and we would genuinely love to walk that journey with you. If this ministry has been a blessing in your life, You can give generously by clicking the link in the description, and your support keeps the gospel going out every single week. Make sure you follow us on social media at Rosedale Baptist so we can stay connected throughout the week.